Strap in for the world's fastest half hour. You're on the Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. And brought to you by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Herbert and Marty Hough.
This is the Straight Line on Drag Racing. Thanks for stopping by our half hour of horsepower. Appreciate you being with us. Straight off their win at Pomona, Kalitta Motorsports crew chief Jim Oberhofer joins us to talk about the victory and his new role with the organization. We're in the beams and set to launch another edition of the Straight Line. Wherever you may be, coast to coast, around the world, this is the Straight Line on Drag Racing at mrn.com. Along with four-time IHRA Top Fuel champion and 10-time NHRA National Event winner Doug Herbert, I am Marty Hough, in postscript on Pomona and heading to the Arizona Nationals at Wild Horse Pass Motorsports Park this weekend. Doug, after you've tested at Arizona, you've gone to Pomona, you've had a couple of days, probably 3 or 4 days worth of runs.
Yep.
Do you know where your team's at by this time?
Yeah, the guys that run good are probably still going to run good, and the guys that are having trouble are still going to have trouble. They're going to be staying after Phoenix and testing over there at Wild Horse Park. But in general, the testing, all the testing that's done at Wild Horse preseason is going to be a help. Although the track prep for the testing is generally not the same as the track prep for the NHRA National Event race, and also all the additional vehicles that are going down the track at a race compared to that test and tune event where it's just fuel cars kind of going down the track. So there's some changes. There is some differences there, but generally, again, the people that run well at testing will probably go to the race and they'll run well. Now, and then the curveball in that, like Clay Milliken didn't run well at testing, then he went to Pomona and flew. So you just never know. One year we had low ET and top speed at the test in Phoenix, went to Pomona and had low ET and top speed at Pomona. So you don't know, and then went back to Phoenix and had top speed. I don't know if we had low ET, but I know we had top speed again at Phoenix. So the people that are running good at the start of the year, they're probably going to keep running good. Yep. And then Leah Pritchett has had pretty good success there at Phoenix. I would think, they'll get over their bump in the road that they had at Pomona with the parachute coming out. I mean, they're obviously a good team. That is just an oddball thing to happen.
Yeah, and remember that Leah Pritchett last year set the national ET record at Wild Horse Pass. Phoenix was known as one of those kind of treacherous racetracks for a while. It was kind of hard to get down, and now they've gone in, resurfaced a lot of things, and they've given it kind of a makeover, shall we say. Now things are pretty quick there.
Yeah, things are really quick there, and that track in Phoenix is one that has been. It's been a headache over the years. I remember in 1991 they actually closed the national event race and said come back in a couple weeks because the track is too bad to race here. So there's definitely been some issues with it, but the weather is generally really, really good in Phoenix this time of year, and that track's had a lot of improvements. I mean, it's a good track. It's a good racing service. The fans in Phoenix love coming out to the drag races, so I'm sure it'll be a good event again this year.
I want to ask you, of course, one of the big focuses this weekend will be Brittany Force. After crashing at Pomona, pretty big lick. What's her mindset going to be coming back after the race from crashing?
That's going to tell the tale. Yeah. I mean, you get in the car and you're scared of what happened to you last week. You've got to be able to just get in the car and we're racing, and you're so focused that it doesn't even matter what happened last. Yeah. And as long as she can get in the car and do that, then she'll be fine. Obviously, her dad, John Force, is probably the best that there is at that. I mean, that bad crash he had in Dallas, I mean, that was really bad. And then he's had plenty of other ones. But, I mean, he got back in the car. I bet you John Force didn't think about it, not even for 1 second. He got back in the car, and he was focused at what he does. That's why he's a 16-time champion. So I don't, whether or not, what she's going to do, I don't know. We're going to find out this weekend. Yeah. I mean, all you got to do is look at her reaction times and see. I mean, if she's got really good reaction times, then she's in the zone. I mean, she is focused. She's in the zone. If she doesn't, that's going to be that's an easy indication. Yeah. I think, as I said last week on the show, we watched the video. I mean, it was apparent to me as a spectator what happened there, and hopefully, she'll have a good think about that and You know, I mean, that's why there's drivers in these cars. That's
Right.
why they're not on remote control. They're not on
It's not
rails.
a video game.
It's not a video game.
Yep.
I mean, this is real. And the most important thing about driving a fuel car, I've said it 100 times on the show, is knowing when to shut it off.
Yep.
Because there's times when you go, okay, uncle, you know, and you
Right.
shut it off. And
Right.
and you can't get back on the throttle until you're pointed where you want to go. Because if you're not, you're going to be in trouble.
That'll be one of the focuses that we'll have this weekend at Wild Horse Motorsports Park down in Phoenix. And when we return, we'll talk to the Victor crew chief of the Top Fuel Division at Pomona. Jim Oberhofer will join us next.
All right, Jimmo.
No matter what or where you race, Hefner Racing Products and HRP Wings has you covered. Built in the USA, HRP is the manufacturer of the original recessed rivet wing, including their premier Shark Wing series, as well as the new Racer Series Sprint Car Wing. Hefner Racing Products wings are available for sprint cars, mini and micro sprints, winged outlaw karts, and junior sprints. HRP is the leader in mule conversions, manufactures and sells a full line of sprint car components, including Nerf bars and bumpers, front axles, precision laser cut chassis building tabs, brackets, tubes, and spuds. HRP has the absolute largest selection of trailer and shop accessories available to sprint car racers. When it comes to setting up your trailer or shop, HRP is the choice for the best in trailer and shop storage and organization accessories. Hefner Racing Products. Visit them and shop online at hrpracing.com.
For children with chronic medical conditions, Victory Junction means friends, fun, freedom. That's because we provide a medically safe environment where kids who live in a world of hospitals and doctors' visits can laugh, play, and discover all they can be, all at no cost to their families. Victory Junction inspires confidence, builds self-esteem, and changes the life of every camper who comes through our gates. Find out how you can change a child's life. Go to victoryjunction.org.
Welcome back to The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Here's more with Marty Hough and Doug Herbert.
Thanks for being here on the Straight Line on Thursday afternoon. Along with Doug Herbert, I am Marty Hough, and joining us on the guest line right now is the Top Fuel winning crew chief at Pomona in the Winter Nationals. Jim Oberhofer joins us. Jim, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me, Marty and Doug.
Yeah, man, you got a little more time now that you don't have to control all the Indians over there at Kalitta Motorsports. Now you've only got to worry about a couple dozen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get to do all sorts of nothing now.
I doubt. Yeah, I doubt that's the case.
Right.
How has your normal routine changed from what you were when you're general manager and in charge of everything to being able to focus on that race car? I mean, I think obviously, right, you go to Pomona, you win the race, the outcome is pretty good, but how does it change your daily routine?
Well, I mean, it's still in a transition phase, really, and so it's still busy during the day. I mean, there's still a lot of things going on for me, but it's slowly but surely there's things that are, Rachel Delago, our new general manager, and Chad Head, and just everybody within Kalitta Motorsports is, able to just take a little bit from me each day and make things, go. So it's working out just fine. I mean, I've always said, if you want to be a top-notch crew chief in this business, whether you're running a funny car or you're running a top fuel dragster, you have to be dedicated to it 100% of the time. And, and I spent Thanksgiving down in Turks and Caicos with Jimmy Prock and his family. And, and Jimmy is, he's truly one of the guys that I look up to in the crew chief world. And that guy is 100% dedicated to being the best crew chief out there. And it shows, and his car runs well, and he thinks about it all the time. And he told me many times, he says, I don't know how you do what you do. And, and it really started getting me thinking about it a lot more and more as time went by, because, I want to see Doug Kalitta win a championship, and I want to be able to be that crew chief leading the team to make that happen. And it's not going to happen if I'm not 100% committed to running the car. So it's, it's given me time to think about the car more, and, think about things that we're doing with the car, and, allowed me to really get reacquainted with the car and the technology that is there, and I'm excited about it. Real excited about it.
Well, that's awesome. And you just talked about Jimmy Prock. Obviously, he's one of the best. Thinking back about the years you've been over at Kalitta Motorsports, you've worked with some pretty good crew chiefs in your day as well. They're winning championships, winning a lot of races. I think the answer obviously is probably Connie. Has probably got to be, one of the most fun to work with. And people don't give Connie enough credit for being a great crew chief. But I think putting Connie aside, who's been your most influential and favorite one to work with?
Well, there's two guys, and actually probably three. One that I really didn't get the opportunity to work directly with, but obviously Dick LaHaye is the best in my opinion. He is without a doubt one of the sharpest racers out there, and just had a lot of common sense about him, and everything that he did was just methodical. And it obviously showed. I mean, he won championships with Scott driving. He won championships with himself driving. He won championships with Larry Dixon driving. He did great with you, Doug. When you were driving,
yeah. And
Dick LaHaye was working with you. So Dick LaHaye is obviously been a tremendous mentor of mine. And Ed the Ace McCullough. Ed the Ace was a great guy. He allowed me to do more, and allowed me to think a little bit more, when he took over running the team. He wanted my opinion a little bit more, which made me feel like I was moving up in the world some.
Yeah.
And Ace is just the same way, just a very methodical guy, like Dick LaHaye. I mean, Ed the Ace and Dick LaHaye are two of the greatest drag racers, period, in the world of drag racing. And then, another guy is Tim Richards, and a lot of people don't know that. He only spent a year here at Kalitta Motorsports, but, I truly enjoyed talking with Timmy. And, when you get a guy that works for your organization that won all those championships with Joe Amato, and then, later on went on to win some championship with Kenny Bernstein, truly one of the greatest crew chiefs out there in the business. I mean, those three guys there were just unbelievable people in the world of drag racing. And, and of course, like you said, Connie, Connie is, without Connie, I don't know where I would be right now. I mean, he's given me the opportunity to grow as a crew chief. And, the neat thing that I always liked about Connie is if you ask Connie a question and he doesn't know the answer, his ego isn't so big to where he'll give you some BS answer. He'll sit there and he'll go, "Hey, let's go find out what the answer is." And he's an awesome guy that way. And and I've had the pleasure of working with Jimmy Prock back before he was a crew chief. And you just knew, man, this guy's going to be awesome when that time comes. And there's so many great guys out there. Alan Johnson's a close friend of mine, and he's truly one of the greatest ever. So I mean, it's just cool. I mean, it's cool to be out there with a lot of these guys racing, competing against them, and and then learning from them as well. And we have a great group here at Kalitta Motorsports right now that they're great guys to work with and great guys to learn from as well.
Right, and I've known you for a long time, and your family, right? Davo, he ran his own Top Fuel dragster. Your brother works with you at Kalitta Motorsports. Tamio, I remember her working at NHRA and being in the credentials trailer, and then your daughter is over there working with you. So it's really a family affair. I mean, not just Kalitta's, but your family involved with drag racing for a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, I remember as a kid going to the drag races, watching my dad's car go up and down the racetrack, and and my dad, of course, everything they did way back then was on a shoestring budget, and and it was cool back then. I mean, he was primarily an East Coast car, and he loved racing, and he loved having my brother and I and my sister and my mom come to the races when we could, and we just loved it. And and then as I got older, working at my dad's paint and body shop down in Texas, I mean, right next door was Chaparral Trailers, and all the big dogs in drag racing had their trailers built by Chaparral Trailers, and I'd always sneak over there trying to see who was in there at the time. And then right around the corner from the shop was the Blue Max shop. You know, going over as a kid and, you know, seeing Raymond Beetle and the Blue Max car, and then like Dale Emery and Waterbed Fred, and then the late D Gant. You know, these are guys that I just looked up to as kids, and as a kid, and just you know, I always thought to myself, man, I would love to be like a badass crew chief like Dale Emery someday, or you know, or Dale Armstrong. And I always told myself, there's not a chance in hell that'll ever happen.
And there you go. You got it, though.
Yeah.
You know. Hey, so, you know, one of the things is your book. Your book, I think that the title on it is hard to relate what's in the book. And you were generous enough to let us give those books away to everybody at the Brakes Gala a couple years ago, and that was just incredible. Tell us about the book, and how's the book going? Or the book's still for sale on Amazon and different places?
Yeah, the book's still for sale on Amazon, and I believe Walmart.com and BarnesandNoble.com, and it's still, you know, it's still plugging along, doing good. I haven't really pushed it a whole lot, you know, as of late, and you know, we used to sell them out at the racetrack, and with you know, with Alexis not racing anymore this year, you know, most everybody wanted some Patron or Alexis merchandise, so we decided not to have a merchandise trailer out there now. So that kind of cut book sales some, but it, you know, that's okay. I mean, you know, I still get requests for the book and people wanting to buy them, and you know, I've you know, contemplated, you know, my next moves down the road. You know, I really enjoy speaking to people, and I've had the opportunity to obviously speak to all the guests at the Brakes Gala a couple of years ago. I spoke to at a Mac Tools convention. I spoke, you know, for the United States Track and Field Cross Country Coaches Association in Phoenix this past December, the Idaho Department of Transportation, and you know, and it's sharing my stories from the book, you know, about the mistakes I've made in my life and what I've learned from that, and I enjoy that, and I, you know, maybe someday I'll get more focus back on that, but you know, right now my focus more than anything is, you know, Doug Kalitta is like a brother to me, and I want him to win races, and I want him to win a championship before, you know, it's all said and done for both of us, really.
Well, I've seen you've been pretty busy. That Mac Tool Expo looked like it was a pretty big deal, and you're busy. Mac Tool's been with you guys in Kalitta Motorsports for a long time. That's obviously a really great relationship, and I think you and Doug and the whole Kalitta bunch does a good job at promoting the relationship.
Yeah, it's been neat. You know, really, it kind of started back in 1989 when Scott Kalitta won his first race down in Houston Raceway Park, and the Mac Tools people came over and wheeled over a toolbox, and you know, they said, "Hey, here's your prize for winning this race," and we were like, "Wow, we needed a toolbox pretty bad at that time." So we took this toolbox, and then, you know, then we were on like a little bit of a discount program with them for a while, and kind of grew to like a little bit of a tool program, and then at the end of the 2000 season, Doug Kalitta and I spent a lot of time with the Mac Tools people and tried to create a program, and you know, and it's grown since then, and it's, you know, and it's had its ups and downs. I mean, you know, just like any company, any business, you know, they were hit hard by the economy, you know, back in late 2008. But, you know, they kept telling us, you know, like, when we come back to drag racing, we're coming with you guys. And, you know, and they were as loyal, you know, as they could be. Their word was good, and they came back with our team, and you know, and it's been a great relationship. And you know, this year Mac Tools has a new president, and you know, it was pretty neat, you know, seeing him interact with all the new or the distributors that he's worked with over the years, and it's just neat to see the excitement of everybody, you know, because Mac Tools is going in a good direction, and now it's going to, you know, go in even a better direction, everybody was so excited from Mac Tools when Doug and I showed up, and they were so excited about the win at Pomona, and it was just a neat way to go into Tool Fair and be able to share that Pomona win with so many great people.
And speaking of which, Jim you did take that win at the Winter Nationals. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. You blew up a motor in that first round, about as bad as you can blow something up. But you also said, hey, you know what, we got lucky. But it seems to me that you create your own luck by doing what you need to do. Do you think just having a little more time to focus and generate your energy into that car kind of helped you get to the winner's circle?
Well, I really think, for us on race day, I mean, there was a lot of things that went into fact, to winning that race. And, for us, for the most of the time, we feel like we have to really be flawless on race day. And we can't make mistakes. And, because, we've always felt that we're not the luckiest team out there. And on Sunday, we definitely were. And it was a matter of survival almost that day. Yeah. I talked to Alan Johnson after a race. He called me up and congratulated us, and he goes, "Man, great job today." And I go, "Well, not really." And he goes, "You lit 4 win lights."
Yep.
And that's what it takes. And you lit 4 win lights, and you won the race. So you did a great job.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, I'll take that. And but for us, it was just a matter of, approaching the race the right way. We obviously got some breaks. First round, our teammate Richie Crampton smoked tires at the step. We just happened to spin the tires a little further down the track, and you would know this, Doug. As a driver, you're at a point on the racetrack where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You stay in it and you leg it, or you pedal it and hope you don't bang the blower when you get back on it, or something crazy. And, Doug elected to stay in it, and it spun the tires and put 4 cylinders out. When it did that, that's when it basically hydraulic and blew up and made for all sorts of great video out there. And
it did.
Oh, boy.
And it was just it was something that, my guys were just awesome, after that round. I mean, they came back. Nobody was in a panic. They just did their jobs. Had a lot of help from the guys on the Kalitta Air DHL car. And, I mean, within 45, 50 minutes, that car was running again and ready to race Scott Palmer in the second round. And I told my guys afterward that it was truly, every win is a team effort, no matter what way you look at it. But the way I looked at it, that win was really dedicated to the crew on that Mac Tools team. I mean, the guys in the trenches that each round did what they had to do to get that car back up on the starting line, because, with first round being as long as it was, the NHRA, they were pushing us hard.
Yeah.
And, and the team did a phenomenal job of making sure that everything was done right, that when we rolled back up there, we were ready to go. And that was just an awesome job by my team. And I said, and if you can ever say that, hey man, this was truly without this crew, we would not have won that race. And so I truly believe that without my guys on that Mac Tools team and the hard work, the guys in the trenches, we would not have won that race.
Well, you know what? At the end of the day, you're standing in the winner's circle. So great job, Jim. Congratulations on doing that, and congratulations on your new role, which will hopefully enable you to really focus on that thing and get Doug Kalitta in the winner's circle a bunch, and maybe bring home that championship this year. You know the road to that, and make it happen there, buddy.
Well, that's what our goal is, and
yeah.
I've told all my guys. I said, we've got our work cut out for us, and we're going to work hard, and I'm going to work hard, and Doug's going to work hard, and we're going to do whatever we have to do to make sure that we win races, and we pay attention to the small details that you need to pay attention to in order to be a champion.
Well,
Jimbo, thanks so much. We really appreciate your time, and good luck this weekend in Phoenix.
All right, thanks, guys. Take care.
Jim Oberhofer joining us on the Straight Line. More of the show coming up.
If you've been delaying that oil change, replacing those brake pads, or ignoring that check engine light, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and use your tax refund to take care of problems you've been putting off. Spend a little of your tax refund on your vehicle now and avoid costly repairs down the road. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
When the sun goes down, the NASCAR stars come out.
Green flag, green flag, green flag. 748.
The spring race weekend at Richmond Raceway, back under the lights. April 20th and 21st. The Toyota Care 250 on Friday and Saturday night's Toyota Owners 400. Get your tickets at richmondraceway.com.
Right rear, guys. Right rear. Bring that thing to the second flag, baby.
NASCAR in Richmond. Some things are better under the lights.
Live sports are the one true reality entertainment, where a single dramatic moment can become timeless. In NASCAR, Motor Racing Network's live broadcasts elevate your senses to the sights, sounds, and struggles taking place on the racetrack.
Keselowski to the bottom of the racetrack. He tries to slide up. Newman is there. Sideways is Keselowski.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
You're listening to The Straight Line, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Now, back to Marty Hough and Doug Herbert.
Big thanks to Jim Oberhofer for joining us on The Straight Line. I would love to sit in on a dinner or something like that between you two. If things got to last about 4 hours between you two, just swapping stories.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, between Jimmo and I, we can tell some stories. The last time we went out to dinner, actually, we went out with his dad, his brother, and Jimmo. So I had four of them. And Mimi, by the end of the dinner, she goes, "Oh, my gosh, you guys can tell some stories." Like, what? You didn't like that? Yeah. Oh, my God, because she doesn't know drag racing that much. Right. You know, so we're laughing about something particular, you know, that you know, Scott Eddy did or Connie did or that I've done or Dick LaHaye or, you know, because we've worked and known so many of the same people. Yeah, it's a fun dinner if you know what's going on.
Sure, yeah, exactly. And
because everybody's got nicknames, and so you don't know who you know.
Right, and I kind of do. You know, I'm probably half in, half out. So just to be a fly on the wall would really kind of be cool.
He's a great guy, though.
It really is. Coming up this weekend at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the honorary pace car driver at the NASCAR Cup Series event will be the one and only three-time Top Fuel champion. Yes, Antron Brown will be the pace car driver at the NASCAR event. What a great way to get out in front of the NASCAR people than have one of the best representatives for the sport in Antron Brown.
Well, yeah, Antron does such a great job talking about drag racing and promoting the sport, and he's a fun guy. So I think that's a great opportunity. I think they picked a great person to you know, for the track to be out there and be the pace car driver. Hopefully he'll get a little bit of airtime on the NASCAR show, and he's doing that other show, that international show deal. So yeah, Antron's a great representative for the sport. I think he'll do a super job at that and promoting the new 4-wide racetrack out in Las Vegas. I mean, that's what they've really got to talk about right now.
And there's the shot of it right there, 4-wide. At Las Vegas at the Strip, and it won't be long before or after that NASCAR race that they'll be driving on that 4-wide. I cannot wait to see what happens when they go 4-wide at the Strip at Las Vegas. That's going to be really interesting. So Antron will have the opportunity to talk about that as well. So it's going to be a win-win-win for everybody involved. And Pennzoil is the major sponsor there for that race, and of course that's a big sponsor for Don Schumacher Racing. So it's good. Well,
and Antron's won the 4-wide race here in Charlotte before. I raced him in the final round the one year, and he beat me in the final round of the 4-wide here, and I don't know, it's about 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. So he's got some 4-wide experience. I think that'll be great, and I think it'll be a neat opportunity for the people on the West Coast to go see a 4-wide race.
No doubt.
Charlotte's been the only place now for the past 6 or 7 years that we've had a 4-wide race. So I think that's going to be pretty exciting and give the West Coast fans something to really be excited about.
Yep. So be looking for Antron Brown this weekend in Las Vegas, out in front of the field at the NASCAR race. More of the show coming up.
O'Reilly
Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today and pick up 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for $28.95. Plus, get a $10 O'Reilly Auto Parts gift card after mail-in rebate and earn double O Rewards points with your purchase. Protect your engine with Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're staged and ready for another run on the straight line. Brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Here's Doug and Marty.
And speaking of our friends at O'Reilly Auto Parts, they bring us red light, green light every week. You get it? Their colors are red and green. Red light, green light, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Something that we haven't had really much opportunity to talk about is that during the offseason, or actually, I believe it was the Friday of Pomona, the NHRA announced that after the 2018 season, Graham Light, who is the director of competition for NHRA and has been for many, many years, will step down in that role and retire. That's the big red light for this season is Graham Light after this season will retire.
Well, Graham took over from Steve Gibbs. I mean, Steve Gibbs was competition director at NHRA for I don't even know how many years, 20 or 30 years, and now Graham's been for 20 years. So kind of like Buster Couch was the NHRA starter for 40 years.
Yeah.
So people in these different positions at the National Hot Rod Association tend to stay there for a long time. There's some big shoes to fill. I think Graham does a good job. I think he's done a good job. He's got respect from the racers because he was a top fuel racer.
Right.
I mean, he understood the racer's standpoint, and I always found Graham to be pretty fair, on different things. And I mean, I've had run-ins a little bit with him. I mean, I never, hollered and jumped up and down and screamed like some of these idiots. Like, wait, why are you doing that? He's the boss, and get over it. But I had a couple little run-ins with him, but I found Graham was always really fair, and I think he was good to work with. The new guys coming in, I've got a little bit of experience with them, so we'll see.
Yep. And so the green light of all of this is that there is new blood coming in into the NHRA. Glenn Cromwell is the new president, and he's been with NHRA for a long time, and will bring some new energy, some new blood into the situation.
Well, he's got experience from the events. I mean, Glenn has been with NHRA for quite some time. Yeah. He's ran the pits. He's ran the contingency program. He's ran the T-shirt trailer programs for NHRA with the teams. So, I mean, he's very well versed in a lot of things. And I got to tell you, I like Glenn. I think Glenn's a good guy. I think he's a fair guy.
Yes.
And I think he'll do a good job as president at NHRA, as well as coming in to replace. One person is not going to replace Graham, which is a little bit interesting. But we've got Ned Walser, which I've known Ned for many years. Ned's a nice guy. I think hopefully what NHRA will do is they'll bring Ned and Glenn Gray. Glenn Gray goes to a lot of the races anyways, but Josh Peterson I'm not familiar with. But hopefully they'll bring these guys to work with Graham most of this year, because I think it's going to take that to fill the role that Graham does. Is not something that you can learn in a day. I mean,
that's a
even
fact.
If you've been going to races for a long time, it's going to take somebody that is familiar with what he does. I mean, basically, he calls all the shots at NHRA. Yeah. As we had Matt Hagan on the show last week, he was mad at Graham because they rushed him to get him up there. Well, Graham had to make a decision. Okay, we've got this TV deadline. Is it going to be a safety issue? And in his mind, he decided, you know what? It's not going to be a safety issue. We can rush these guys. They can do it. So Graham makes decisions like that you don't have a lot of time to think about. You just have to make it.
Yeah,
Graham's done a good job of that.
Yep, and not only do you have to weigh in the competition side, but you're also dealing with the personalities. And it's a combination.
Sponsors, racetracks, curfews, the sun going down. I mean, so many different things.
Yep, and there's a lot of that. So we will talk to you next week right here on The Straight Line.